the Lord took hold of me, and I was carried away by the Spirit of the Lord to a valley filled with bones. He led me all around among the bones that covered the valley floor. They were scattered everywhere across the ground and were completely dried out. Then he asked me, "Son of man, can these bones become living people again?" "O sovereign Lord," I replied, "you alone know the answer to that." Then he said to me, "Speak a prophetic message to these bones and say, 'Dry bones, listen to the word of the Lord. This is what the sovereign Lord says. Look, I am going to put breath into you and make you live again. I will put flesh and muscles on you and cover you with skin. I will put breath into you, and you will come to life. Then you will know that I am the Lord." So I spoke this message just as he told me. Suddenly, as I spoke, there was a rattling noise all across the valley. The bones of each body came together and attached themselves as complete skeletons. Then as I watched, muscles and flesh formed over the bones. Then skin formed to cover their bodies, but they still had no breath in them. Then he said to me, "Speak a prophetic message to the winds, Son of man. Speak a prophetic message and say, 'This is what the sovereign Lord says. Come, O breath from the four winds. Breathe into these dead bodies so they may live again.' So I spoke the message as he commanded me, and breath came into their bodies. They all came to life and stood up on their feet, a great army. Then he said to me, 'Son of man, these bones represent the people of Israel. They are saying, "We have become old, dry bones. All hope is gone. Our nation is finished." Therefore, prophesy to them and say, "This is what the sovereign Lord says. O my people, I will open your graves and cause you to rise again. Then I will bring you back to the land of Israel. When this happens, O my people, you will know that I am the Lord. I will put my spirit in you, and you will live again and return to your own land. Then you will know that I, the Lord, have spoken, and I have done what I said. Yes, the Lord has spoken."
Ended up getting baptized in literally the last service of church before COVID hit and we went into lockdown.
I'm a completely different person than what I was last year or the last 5 years.
The old is dead and gone, and new life has been breathed into me.
Wow, this year's been the best year of my life.
It was a symbol of a new beginning. It was time to stop ignoring all what I chalked up as coincidences in my life, that God is on my side, that He's there, that He's never left.
I think before, maybe a year ago or a little bit more than that, I was thinking, you know what? I'm 63 years old and I'm soon gonna die, and I had fear of death, and and a year in, right now, I'm sitting here going, man, I'm just beginning. My life has just begun. I feel like a baby, is really how I feel.
It was the best feeling ever, really, and God has been working in my life, and now I'm going to Kingswood University in the fall to pursue a ministry degree and to just jump in the deep end, I guess.
We just needed a new start, and I wasn't really sure where to go from the bad part.
I felt like I was reborn. A lot of my life last year came to this point where, I kind of got pushed to my lowest, and then I cried out and I asked for help, and I prayed to Him. It's just like the easiest way to me to explain it is like watching The Wizard of Oz. Everything was in black and white in Kansas, and all of a sudden, I came, I asked for help, and everything's in color.
It's like your life becomes like that Planet Earth video in the brilliant colors. That's kind of how I feel. It might sound a bit weird, but it's like I see that. I feel that in God. I feel that in Christ. He's bringing me life beyond what I can ever understand or believe. So my thing this year has just been new life.
Jesus has just brought a lot more love,
And a lot more family connection.
gratitude.
Through the transformation that I've gone through, I now have the ability to be more empathetic with people, to empathize with their situations, to be not so harsh, to not be judgmental, to try to see the bigger picture of what's going on in a person's life and what has led them to be the way that they are.
Jesus has changed my life just completely, the way I look at other people, the way I look at myself, the way I look at life.
But for me, personally, it's been a struggle. It's a tough journey. You have to be committed to it. There's been many times where I'm like, oh, well, this doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. This just doesn't make sense. And it's like, this doesn't happen overnight. This does not happen overnight. I
think that as I read the Word and as I pray, I feel like God is peeling back layers, and I'm learning more and more. And I read John 3:16, for God so loved the world, He gave His only begotten Son, whoever believeth in Him should not perish, but have everlasting life. And, it's the life part. It's life.
I thought someone like me wasn't worthy of loving, and everybody is.
The previous season of my life was like an earthquake. Literally, it just felt like my life was just in shambles. And even though it still feels like that, I do see the light through that rubble. And each day that light gets a little bit brighter. And I feel like I'm not alone. I felt buried, and that I was alone, and I'm not.
Happy Easter, everyone. Welcome to church. If you're watching online, we're so glad you're here. We're going to worship the Lord. There is cause to celebrate, for He has risen from the grave. He is alive. Sing with us. I was buried beneath my shame. Who could carry that kind of a weight? It was my turn till I met you. I was breathing, but not alive. All my failures I tried to hide. It was my turn till I met you. You called my name. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave. Out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave. Out of the darkness into your glorious day. Your mercy has saved my soul. Now your freedom is all that I know. The old made new, Jesus, when I met you. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave. Out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave. Out of the darkness into your glorious day. Your glorious day. Needed rescue, my sin was heavy, but chains break at the weight of your glory. I needed shelter, I was an orphan. Now you call me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healing. Your love is the air I'm breathing. I have a future, my eyes are open. 'Cause when you call my name, I ran out of that grave. Out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave. Out of the darkness into your glorious day. Your glorious day. Scripture tells us that every knee will bow, every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. On this Easter Sunday, we sing praises to the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, God who stepped down from heaven into our mess, into our sin, and took our shame and our guilt upon him to the cross. And on the third day, he rose again victoriously, defeating the power of sin and death. And we sing praises, we worship the King of Kings today. In the darkness, we were waiting without hope, without light, till from heaven you came running. There was mercy and the dead rose from their tombs, and the angels stood in awe, for the souls of all who come to the Father are restored. And the church of Christ was born, and the Spirit lit the flame. Now this gospel truth of old shall not kneel and shall not faint. By his blood and in his name, and in his freedom I am free. For the love of Jesus Christ, who has resurrected me. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. Praise forever to the King of Kings.
Let's pray. Father, we sing that song and we acknowledge that you truly are the King of Kings. It's a phrase that we have probably heard before. We have probably sung it before. But sometimes just a gentle reminder is what we need to understand what that truly means, that you really are the King of all kings, that you are the ruler above all rulers, that you are the name above all names, that there has not been anyone on this earth. There has been no king, no ruler, no one who held any power and authority that comes close to who you are. In fact, you are the one who gives power and gives authority. You are the source of those things. And so, Father, we give you all of the praise that you are worth today. We give you all of the honor and all of the majesty that no one else on this earth is due, only you. And we give you praise today, Father, for being the God who is above all things, and we are grateful that you are a good God, that you are a gracious God, that you are generous and faithful and holy and just, that we can trust you in the way that you rule over us and the way that you wield your authority as the King above all kings. And what a gift that you call us your children. And so, Father, today I pray that as you speak, we would hear from you and acknowledge who you are and what it means that you speak to us. And I pray that we would hear perhaps from you words that we've heard before, but may we experience them like they're brand new. May someone today experience the Easter story in a new and fresh way. May we experience a fresh expression of you today. Jesus, would you speak? Would you move? Would we acknowledge that you are among us and with us? That we would give you praise for being the one who gives us life today. You are so good. You are so worthy. And you still call us your own. And so today we give thanks to you, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, in the name above all names. May we hear you speak to us. And we ask these things in the living name of Jesus. Amen.
Good morning to anybody from our church who's worshiping with us on this Sunday morning, and good morning to people from the community who may be tuning in for the first time. Maybe you had a friend or a family member recommend this to you or send you the link and you're doing the obligatory watch. Thank you. Thank you for joining us for this time. Friends and family from around Canada who are watching and tuning in, we welcome you and we're just so glad to have you. If you've been around this church for any length of time, you know that it is no secret, and I have obnoxiously shoved these stories anywhere I could, but 3 summers ago, I went and got my motorcycle license finally. And I just shoved that into every sermon, every illustration, every foyer conversation. I was like the dad with the new kid. I was just the guy with the new bike. And I wanted to tell everybody about it. And that first little while where I had my motorcycle license, I was the king of the town. I was cruising up and down Parade in Pleasant, going down Brunswick Street. I was big man in town, cruising at 50 kilometers an hour. And then all of a sudden I had a conversation with a friend who said, "You've had your license for a week or so ago. Let's go for a long run." Now, I was great at the 15, 20, 30-minute rides, but this guy had a 2-hour-plus journey in mind. So off we went. We went down the 340, we went up to Carleton and beyond, and we went up to Weymouth area, and we got to the point where the highway, where we could cross over and come down the old highway or come down the actual highway. And so we pulled over and had a conversation, and he says, "Let's go home on the highway." Now, I had a choice. I had a choice between being a man and being a wuss. I could either tell him I'm good for the highway, or truth be told, I am far too chicken. I have not been on the highway yet. Well, obviously, I lied and said I'm good for the highway. Down we go. We head down the ramp. We start merging onto the highway. I come onto the throttle. I see the speed hit the 50-kilometer mark. I see 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. Now, he's gone. I'm in the back, white-knuckling it, clenching it, terrified, holding on for dear life. And on that ride, that first time on the highway, I learned a few things. I learned that my cheeks were flapping in the wind in a very unglamorous way. I've learned what 100 kilometers an hour on the face does to you. I also learned what a bug at 100 kilometers an hour in the face does to you. I learned that 100 kilometers an hour on a motorbike does not feel like 100 kilometers an hour in a car. But I also learned, more importantly, the very unique relationship between fear and joy. I'm holding on for all I have. I'm just trying to stay alive. It is not lost on me that if I'm going 100 kilometers an hour and a transport is coming this way at 100 kilometers an hour, that's 200 kilometers an hour of impact if something goes sideways. I'm not delusional about this. But as I'm riding, the terrifying fear moved away. The reverential fear moved in. I knew what I was doing. I knew the cost of what I was doing, but the joy started to take over. The fear of knowing there's nothing between me, my skin, and the highway was replaced with and sat right beside with the joy of knowing there's nothing between me, my skin, and the open highway. It's a weird dance fear and joy have. And as I was praying over Easter week and Easter weekend, I felt the Lord take me to Matthew chapter 28. It's the classic resurrection story. It's Matthew telling it for a Jewish audience. Join with me, if you would, in Matthew chapter 28, verse 1. Now after the Sabbath, toward the dawn of the first day, this is Saturday, the Sabbath, and the first day of their week was Sunday. So after Saturday, at the dawn of Sunday, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to see the tomb. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothing white as snow. And for fear of him, the guards trembled and became like dead men. It's fascinating to me how cute we've made angels to be. It's fascinating to me how we have hallmarked angels. But when you go through Scripture, whenever there's an angelic meeting, whenever there's a confrontation with an angel, fear is always the response. There is something holy and majestic about these beings that cute is not the word. There's a fear. There's an awe of what they bumped into. But the angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you seek Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, for he has risen. As he said, come and see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell the disciples that he has risen from the dead. And behold, he is going before you to Galilee, and there you will see him. See, I have told you." So they departed quickly from the tomb with the fear and great joy and ran to tell the disciples. And behold, Jesus met them and said, "Greetings." And they came up and took hold of his feet and worshiped him. I could not get past that phrase. So they departed quickly from the tomb with fear and great joy. I get the idea of departing with fear or great joy. I get the idea of having fear or joy. In fact, I've met a lot of people around the church, around the community, that when they bump into God, it is either fear or joy. You will meet a lot of people who are raised with, around, and near God, that fear is one of the primary ways they speak of God. But it's almost afraid of God, where he is angry. He is maybe against them. There are people who are maybe watching right now that you stay away from church because of fear of God. But there's other people who all they have is joy of God. All they have are warm, fuzzy feelings of God. And there's this weird relationship in this passage where they have fear and joy as they walk off obediently doing what the angel told them to do about the resurrected Jesus, which got me thinking, maybe fear and joy are not in opposition. Maybe fear and joy complement each other. Maybe fear and joy are two sides of the same coin. See, I think when the ladies showed up, they weren't afraid of what was happening in that moment. They were afraid of the realities that were becoming clear to them in that moment. See, fear caused them to ask the question, who is this that we are dealing with? What does this mean for me? See, the ladies were not afraid because Jesus died. The ladies were not afraid of even the body of Jesus who was dead. See, there's something that we have to face that maybe when we're honest, while we don't enjoy death, we expect it. While we don't like death, death makes sense to us. They came prepared for a funeral and they bumped into a resurrection. And the question was, what does this mean for me? What does this mean for us, and who are we dealing with? This is a power that we are bumping into that we did not expect today, and honestly, it is unsettling. I wonder if we can be honest and say, sometimes we would take less from God as long as he stays predictable. I wonder if sometimes we're actually okay God not doing the powerful and the miraculous as long as he sticks to a script. And they showed up with a funeral script in hand. They showed up looking to serve the dead body of Jesus. Jesus showed up to bring newness of life. It caused fear in them. But right on the other side, if fear was asked the question, who is this that we are dealing with? What does this mean for us? I think joy actually asks the same question. But it's not, who are we dealing with? It's, who are we dealing with? See, I think the question is on one hand, who are we dealing with? This all-powerful God, this standing in front of the burning bush, we are on holy ground. Mark right beside with, who are we dealing with? Who is this God that we show up for a funeral and he has a resurrection party planned? Who is this God that we are dealing with, and what does this mean for us, and what does this mean in the world around us that we expect death and he brought life? What does this mean for us that our God is not bound by the grave? I wonder how many times we forget to match the holy reverential fear and the awe, joy, and delight of God. And somewhere on our spiritual journey, they actually live together. See, we don't want to be afraid of God, but we do want to have reverence for the power and the awe of God. And we do want the joy of God, but we don't want to be fluffy emptiness. And I think the issue, why they're bound together, and what has to be true in our theology, is that the fear of God and the joy of God is bound together by the love of God. See, if you don't have the love of God, power without restraint is terrifying. And joy without love is pointless. And I think what happens for these people as they walk away in fear and joy is that they have bumped into the love of God, the resurrected Jesus who came to bring newness of life. And on one side, he shatters all their boxes, all their prescriptions, all the things they think they know about God. And he matches it with this love of God that he came for our good and our joy. What a dance to walk. What a tension to hold in our hand, that our good God brings power that is unsettling, but it's for joy and for delight. Now that's how they responded on the first Easter. As we respond on Easter, I have to be honest, I think we do much better at the joy than the holy fear. I think we do much better at the celebration than we do the power of God that can resurrect. I think sometimes we want to be happy, but not in awe. And I wonder if on this Easter, if we need to be reminded that we are standing close to a God who has resurrection power. We are standing near to one who can bring things from death back to life. We are standing near the one who can revive a marriage that looks like it's over. We are standing near the one who can set people free from addictions, decades of bondage. It is wholly terrifying to see that kind of power on display, but it is marvelously joyful when you know he's using it and working for your good. And so, church, we're going to worship today. It is Easter Sunday. We have a God who does the miraculous. We have a God who has power that shatters expectations, but he is working for me and for you. Would you enjoy bumping into and having a close encounter with the resurrection and the power of Jesus today? God, we come before you today. And God, on this Easter Sunday, there are times, if I'm being honest, I just want joy. I just want peace. I just want warm fuzzies. I want you to be predictable. But God, there are times I need to bump into your awe and your power. I need to bump into your grandeur. I need to bump into all of your weight. And so God, what I pray over our church this morning, what I pray over people who are watching online today, would they see a powerful God? Would they experience your joy? And would they realize that those two things are held together by your love? God, it's your agenda. Right from the beginning, when the angels showed up to declare that you were coming in flesh on this earth, you said it was good news of great joy. And God, our world needs good news. God, our world needs hope. Our world needs for you to move, and we need to move close to you. And so, God, we're not here to pander you. We're not here to go through the motions today. We're here to bump into resurrection power. So, God, would you move and would you stir in our community and in our families who are watching online today? And we ask this and we declare it in your name. Amen.
I searched the world, but it couldn't fill me. A man's empty praise and treasures of faith were never enough. Then you came along and put me back together. And every desire is now satisfied here in your love. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing is better than you. And I'm not afraid to show you my weakness, my failures and flaws. Lord, you've seen them all, and you still call me friend. 'Cause the God of the mountain is the God of the valley. There's not a place your mercy and grace won't find me again. Sing that again. There's not a place your mercy and grace won't find me again. I believe that there's not a place your mercy and grace won't find me again. turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. 'Cause you're the only one who can. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. 'Cause you're the only one who can. Turn praise into garden. You turn bone into wine. Making ways through my sea. Turn seas into highway. 'Cause you're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing nothing is better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing is better than you. Because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, no fear is gone. Because I know he holds the future, and life is worth the living just because he lives. No.
Because Jesus died, you don't have to face your past. Because he died and went to the grave, you can be set free from the things from yesterday. But because he lives, you can handle tomorrow. Because he lives, because he died for you, but also because he resurrected for you, there's power for newness of life. Whatever is in front of you tomorrow, you need to ask yourself the question, what does it mean in light of a God who can conquer death? What fears do you have? What worries do you have? What anxieties are on your mind? What troubles you down for tomorrow that can't be laid at the feet of a God who conquers the grave? We are so glad you worshiped with us, but more than worshiping with us, we want to journey with you as you journey back to your Heavenly Father. We want to walk beside you. We want to serve you. We want to pray with you. If you're watching online right now, why don't you leave a comment? Why don't you send us a message? What are the things that you find heavy, burdensome? What are the things that are facing you tomorrow that we can be praying with you for? How can we serve you? Whether you have a church or don't have a church, we love you, we care about you, but more than that, you have a God who has the power to conquer death and the grave, and he loves you, he cares for you, and he has a tomorrow for you. Go in God's peace, reach out to somebody. We would love to serve you. Have a fantastic Resurrection Sunday.